What's up, everyone? It's been so long. I feel like I haven't talked to anyone in so long, but this is Kenya. I am the editor of All Things Loop, and as you should know by now, Loop stands for Live It, Own It, Obtain It on Purpose. We connect with leaders and influencers across all industries who are considered hidden gems, and we make sure that their voices are amplified. And I'm super excited about this edition because a lot of times I do cover stories and I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to prepare, like really, really prepare. But this time I am super excited because I want to know so much about this person. Miss Avery Atkinson, how are you?
Hello, hello, my dear friend Kenya. How are you, beautiful?
I'm good. I'm good. This is like it's a dream come true for me. I really am. It really is. We've been knowing each other, Avery, how long? Like since what, 2018?
At least 2018, at least.
At least. And
Mhm.
now we were just talking off camera, just like how you travel like all the time. I look around, I'm like, Avery is here, Avery is there, she in South Carolina. What is going on? But this is
Listen,
you. This has been you since I've known you. Like you've
mhm.
always been like on the move, on the move. So I'm super excited just to catch up with you, talk with you
Yeah.
about everything that's going on. Like from when we spoke, I don't think, now you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
but this wellness holistic thing, this wasn't even talked about, was it? Like, oh, was I under the rock?
You not under the rock, but I
Okay.
think as life happens,
Yeah.
we get gifted with clarity
Mhm.
and definitive reasons why.
Yeah.
So I'm a fifth generation seer. So being a part of other people's spiritual experience is what I have always known.
This is
Um,
true.
Growing up with healers, which I am also a healer, and people who specialize in herbs and all sorts of alternative healing. I grew up with that in,
Mm-hmm.
in the backwoods of North
Yeah.
Carolina. And then also I grew up Pentecostal holiness. Shout
Yes.
out
Yes.
Pentecostalism, yes. So we grew up speaking in tongues, laying on of hands, and seeing signs, miracles, and wonders. Again,
Yeah.
not realizing that whole tapestry would come under one umbrella for me as a holistic wellness practitioner. And so, yeah, so I get to bring my faith, I get to bring my schooling as Dr. Avery Atkinson. Everybody calls me Dr. A, though. I
Mm-hmm.
get to bring my clinical social work background, I get to bring psychology, all of that under one roof in order to serve
Yeah.
people. So when you met me, we were still
Mm-hmm.
in development. I was serving the special needs community,
Right.
working for the state of North Carolina, again, doing residential support and counseling, a very holistic approach for a community that isn't always advocated for and
Mm-hmm.
don't always necessarily have a voice to advocate for themselves.
Right.
So that's kind of where you met me in the journey, and then it just evolved from there.
Yeah. So with this new role, and I don't even want to say a new role, but this role that you have involved into, how do you help the average person?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Because I think a lot of people um are not sure
Yeah.
about alternative anything, right? We are
Yeah.
so very conditioned to the Western style of thinking
Mhm.
and existing. And so, yes, the everyday person, I serve them literally holistically. So
Okay.
if there are ailments in their body, I'm able to recommend herbs and other forms of support and treatment. If they are experiencing, which the bulk of my clientele are two-sided, it's either the business side or the personal
Mhm.
development side. And on the personal development side, the bulk of the people that I serve are looking to change their lives for the better. They're looking for interpersonal realignment. Some of them are SA survivors, and they are looking to re-engage with themselves so they can exchange intimately. Like, there is usually a root cause. And so
Yeah.
by the time they come and see me, I am able to sit with them and really kind of unpack and unthread what their issue may be at the root, and doing so without engaging in any type of chemical support. So
Yeah.
I'm not anti pill, I am last resort pill.
Okay.
So, and when it does come to that, because sometimes it does, sometimes
Mhm.
people do need extra support. And when that
Yeah.
happens, then I am able to outsource them to some really great colleagues who understand that even though someone may be needing outside support,
Mhm.
um, you don't have to overdose it, you don't have to overdo it, and there can be a termination date, right? So
Yeah.
I love working with people who understand holistic medicine, holistic practice, and holistic living, because it is a lifestyle, right? It's not a one and done. It is a lifestyle that we are teaching people.
See, I this is why I really wanted to have the conversation even more so after I read the website and things like that, because in our world, we never, when you say holistic way of living and doing things, you never know that it is a right way to go about this when you're going through mental things. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times we think that pills are the source, and like you said, sometimes it is, but you
Mhm.
also mentioned that it can be expiration date. And so how do you, as holistic wellness, person, how do you get them to get to that point of saying, like, this is what we're gonna do? We have to do those pills for the moment until that expiration date. What does that process looks like? Or is it different for every person?
That's a great question. I think
Yeah.
first I want to tackle the first part of your
Okay.
question, especially within the community
Yeah.
of highly melanated people.
Mm,
We have some decolonization to do about what wellness looks like for us.
yeah.
That includes our faith spaces as well. So my
Mhm,
work is not just in the marketplace. Now, I
mhm.
do have marketplace ministry. That is the bulk of my work. I lead folk to Christ. We pray, do all the things in
Yeah.
the marketplace. These are people who would never come to church. That's my
Mhm,
assignment.
mhm.
However, because I'm a church kid
Yeah.
and because I've had my own journey through church hurt and all the things, um,
Yeah.
I am able to speak the church lingo, right?
Right.
Christianese, but I'm also able to use biblical backing and help us to understand there is a spiritual disconnect between holistic living and what we deem as one, demonic, two, oh, we just need to pray about it, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of unlearning to do there, and reintroducing holistic wellness to us as a people, because that
Mhm,
is actually our origin, right? So
mhm,
when I come in and train, I am reintroducing you to yourself. This is not foreign. Your DNA will begin to speak. You will
mhm.
feel that resonant within yourself, that you are the people of the book. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people of the book, we use oil. The people of the
Mhm,
book, we know what hyssop does. The
mhm.
people of the book, right? Like, this is what we do. We
Yeah,
meditate. We have a tree of life. We have, a Christ consciousness. And
yeah.
so that's the first part, is the mentality of what holistic and alternative living is. The core of it is introducing the fact that God is holistic. And it
Mhm.
is proven in scripture over and over and over again, both Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, and New King James, whichever one you read. God is still holistic. And
Yeah.
so if we serve a holistic God, if you believe in a holistic God, if you're not sure if there is a God, but something is out there, the truth of the matter is the being that creates and is concerned about every area of our life wants us to be well in every area of our life. So, therefore, holistic living is more about spiritual inheritance than just something that we do when we get sick because we don't want to take pills, right?
Yeah.
So that's step one, is demasking, demystifying, and decolonizing what holistic living is and what wellness is for we as people of color and for us as the people of faith. Then step three, once we are in the mentality space, now we can begin to unpack. And you're absolutely right. That looks different for each person,
Yeah.
right? So if you, for example, genetically have predisposition to sugar addiction, right? Because that
Mhm.
does happen. Some people have that. My regimen for you, I wouldn't prescribe high fructose, naturally fructose fruits, right?
Mhm.
That have natural sugar in it because that can
Yeah.
trigger your predisposition, right?
Mhm.
So that looks different. We also talk about things like eating for your blood type. You and I could share a bowl of grapes. For you, it would trim you down because you would lose your water weight, right? For me, it might cause water retention. So I need
Wow.
to know what my blood type is so that I can understand how it interacts with my environment and the food that I eat, for an example, right? So
Mhm.
we customize that. Also, if we're on the mental health side of things,
Mhm.
if I'm working with someone who has survived a major trauma, before I reach for pills, I may use something like neurofeedback or biofeedback, where I can tap into the brain waves and reprogram them to think differently
Mm.
about said experience. And then we tackle and add on the counseling to it. So now we have non-invasive electric non-chemical support in conjunction with uh, trauma-informed care and counseling for the sake of moving someone's life forward. And towards the end, oftentimes medicine is not even really needed, because
Mhm.
we've done all the things. We've given
Right. Right.
ourselves a chance to heal ourselves, which is
Absolutely.
really how it's been designed. And then, as I said, there are cases where we do outsource and medication is needed. But even in that,
Yeah.
we introduce it as a supplement, not a
Okay.
crutch. And pills
Mm.
go along with prayer. We don't cancel out the other two.
Right.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's customized. It depends on the person, and honestly, holistic living is customized because we
Yeah.
all have our own path, and our path looks different. You as a mommy, your path to holistic living may look completely different to someone
Absolutely.
who owns cats, right? Because
Right.
your son is not
Yes.
self-sufficient for days at a time, right? So
Right.
that
Absolutely
looks
not.
different.
Yeah. Just to the point, I know I'm going off the questions,
Oh,
but I
go
told
for
you,
it.
like, but we went on a 21-day fast with my church, and it was no meat. Like, it was hard, hard, And one of the testimonies that, that came in from another person outside to, just to build our faith up,
Mhm.
when we were doing it, was that the lady had started doing, I can't remember the diet that she was doing or what she was
Mhm.
doing, but whatever she was doing, she allowed her to see again. Like,
Yes.
she was blind. So basically, when you just
Come
said that, you can heal yourself again, like, it is real. Like, we
on.
saw the testimony of the lady, and now she's like living that, like, she's living through,
Mhm.
of like being blind, and now because of this she's been able to see. So I even felt the change from that 21-day fast, like, of us not eating any meat. My body felt better, like, I was
Mhm.
able to do a little bit more, I was a little bit more happy, honestly, like, I was able to
Yes.
deal with my son a lot more. And so it is true, about that. So I just wanted to say that because, when you say heal
Yeah.
yourself, like, it's definitely true. It's definitely true.
Yes, 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 yes. And I love that. And I
Yeah.
wish there were more avenues for people to
Mhm.
share these experiences. God, in his infinite wisdom, knew exactly what he was putting in this earth for us,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And he knew how we were made and how we interact with what he's created. We
Mhm.
forget that plants were created first.
Yeah.
We're the add-on.
Right.
So plants have their own system of intelligence, their own properties, their own benefits, and then those things benefit us. For example, the oil from THC, which is the component in
Mhm.
cannabis and hemp plant.
Okay.
When you extract that on its own, right, the
Mhm.
THC, there are synapses within our body that automatically connect. So
Really?
for people who are epileptic,
Mhm.
where weed is illegal, you can also get THC oil. You can put it
Wow.
under your tongue. The synapses relate to each other. It creates basically a conversation within the brain, and it calms the brain down so that the seizures don't occur. And there is no
Wow.
animal, right? But that's from plants. That's not something
Yeah.
man did. That's something God did. And
Yeah.
so, when we talk about what we're putting in our body, and we talk about not eating meat, and understanding that this meat is not the meat
Mhm.
of our ancestors at
Absolutely.
all. So when you are leaving out meat, you're also
Mhm.
leaving out what your meat eats. And I tell people all
Mhm.
the time when I'm talking about changing their diet, to think of it this way: you are what you eat eats.
Mm.
So you may be eating beef that's organic or grass fed, but what's in the grass?
Wow. Yeah.
How are they growing the grass? We're talking about runoff, but is there
Mhm.
a factory nearby? So
Yeah.
so the where the pasture seems untouched, but
Mhm.
underneath, what is it sitting on a bed of trash? What was it beforehand? Or is it
Yeah.
broken down fossil fuels? We're talking about acidic rain, right? Like,
Mhm.
there are a lot of things that go into keeping an animal alive,
Yeah.
especially for the sake of eating. And so, yeah, we're not eating the meat of our ancestors. There's so much chemicals, there's so many extra things, and each person that I have um encouraged to go into vegetarianism or veganism, they have healed all sorts of ailments, from
Mm.
cystic fibrosis to shrinking the hormonal effects of PCOS. Like,
Wow.
it always responds. Um,
Mhm.
and when we look ancestrally, our ancestors didn't eat meat. When they ate it,
Yeah.
it was for a special occasion. It wasn't like a
Mhm.
every meal 3 times a day. That's something
Right.
that we created, and specifically in the West, that's something we
Mhm.
created to fatten people up for the war that was coming, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. So, yes, I love that even in the 21 days, people began to have
Mhm.
experiences. And I believe that when you marry the denial of your flesh for
Yeah.
the sake of the cause, right?
Yeah.
You marry that with
Mhm.
obedience. Our natural body has no choice but to respond to its creator. And
Yeah.
so healing will happen in your inner self, in your outer self, and in your community. It's
Mhm.
the perfect formula, as they say, the perfect storm
You're right.
for it. So I love that. I love,
Yeah.
love, love that.
Let's just say, someone is coming in, they wanna change,
Mhm.
but they're scared to. They're scared to make this step, even though they know they need to. I think I'm
Right.
talking to myself. Even though that they need to, what are some
Yeah.
tips, that you can give to them to even start the process, even if it's small steps, but
Yeah.
what are some tips?
Well, one, you're ahead of the game. So if you've already done
Right.
a 21-day fast, there's some
Mhm.
detox that has happened, right?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
would, because, okay, let's be very clear, right? When we're talking about fasting, I'm sure, Kenny, because you are just as busy as me. You are a
Yeah.
mompreneur, a mommy
Mhm.
mogul, so
Right.
you're just as busy as me, um, or I should say, as I am. There are days where I forget to eat. I'm
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
busy, or it's like super super late, and I'm like, dang, I didn't even eat today,
Mhm.
right?
Or I get something that I don't need to eat because it's so quick, so I'm like, "Let me just get this," because I got 3 million
Yes.
things to do.
Absolutely. And then as soon as somebody calls for a consecration or a
Mhm.
fast, it is like, what? Oh,
Right.
I haven't eaten in 3 years. And it's been like 2 minutes, right?
Right.
But it's mental, is my point,
Yeah.
is that it is mental. And so if you have already done the 21-day fast, that's a great jump start. I would say challenge yourself to do another 21 days. Because
Mhm.
now you're at 40 days, which is over a month, and it only takes 30 days to create a new habit, right?
Wow,
So
yeah.
I would say challenge yourself to another 21 days. Also, be realistic with your growth. I tell people, grace yourself with room to grow.
Mhm.
So start small. If you know you have a sugar addiction, which means you just got to have cake, you just got to have sugar, you just got to have
Or a
soda.
little candy at one at, like, 11 o'clock at night, yeah,
Yes, a
that.
little piece of something. Yes. If you know that that's your thing, don't try and cancel out all sugar cold
Mhm.
turkey, because
Yeah.
when you go through those withdrawals, and should you go back to it, all the guilt is going to be, it's a lot. You can prevent all that by doing something small. Swap out sugar. Instead of doing sugar, do sugar alternatives.
Mhm.
Try sugar free candy. at
Okay.
night, right? Like slowly do that and
Move away.
also
Yeah.
work in things that combat sugar. So
Okay.
that is increasing of your deep leafy greens. That would be trying eating things like watermelon. Also do intermittent fasting. Intermittent
Mhm.
fasting is amazing for helping your body to naturally break down and dispel toxins within your body, right? I know for me, I am constantly on that holistic journey, right? I have to be a practitioner of my own practice. And
Right.
so, my end goal is to do 30 days water only. So I'm working
Oh,
towards that.
okay.
The longest I've done was 7 days, and I
Mhm.
punked out after that. I'm gonna be honest, but I'm working on it. I am working on it. But that's what I'm saying. Set goals. Set realistic
Okay.
goals. That are sustainable because again it's a lifestyle. Prime example, during COVID my inbox was full. People wanted to know what
Mhm.
can I do to keep from having COVID, what can how can I combat this, I don't want to take
Right.
no, I don't want to take the vaccine, da, 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 da. Yes, I could tell you take ginger root. After you take ginger root, add in some milk and magnesium, like all of these things, right? You can definitely take echinacea, you can take black seed oil. I can tell you the concoctions to drink,
Mhm.
but it's not a fail safe. If it was already in your system, your body would
Yeah.
have already built up that defense so that when the virus came in, you'd have what was in place to combat
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so it is a lifestyle, but it's progressive. Start small, substitute where you can, add in, and then take things that combat your trouble areas. If it's sugar, if it's caffeine, you can drink mushrooms. Mushrooms give you the same effect of caffeine without the crash, right?
Wow.
Like, there are lots of substitutes again and alternatives that you can ease in as you go.
Okay. I thank you. I needed that. I
You got
needed that
this.
for
You got this. And also, since you're a mommy, how old is your son again, too?
He's one.
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 So obviously, when you're feeding him, you're thinking
Mhm.
about what you're giving him, right? You want brain
Absolutely.
stimulating food. You don't want to do sugar too early. You want to keep meat to
Absolutely.
a minimum. I think at one, are they eating meat yet? I don't think so.
They are.
But
They
you want
are.
to keep, okay,
He is.
got you keeping those meats lean to a medium.
Yeah.
If that is what you're putting in your developing child's body
Mhm.
as a mama,
Mhm.
what more would God want us to have as his kids?
Wow.
So if you are that conscious with your son, you
I'm
now
very
keep that
conscious.
same consciousness for yourself. I highly doubt that at 10 o'clock at night, you're going to put Pepsi in a baby bottle,
No, absolutely not.
right? So now why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
So you're
That
developing too. You're growing too. That's the thing. Even though we're adults, we're constantly evolving. Women, we switch out our cells. What is it? Every 7 years, we get a whole new set of cells in our body. Whole new
yeah.
set. Which is why our hair texture and things change over time, right?
Yeah.
So if we're constantly developing and growing, then we want to take care of that development process again, just like we would if we had a little one on deck who we were
Mhm.
looking out for.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have A2 corporate, the youth, the WellTech Studios, and the Passport University. I got some things, together earlier. But which one do you feel like speaks more to you? I know that you said it was under all one brand. So,
Mhm.
but which one that you feel speaks more to you right now at this moment?
Ooh, such a tough question, Kenya. Because they're all my babies. They are all people
Yeah.
that were brought to me, and that they came in meditative downloads like he normally does.
Yeah.
And they are specific to the people that I serve. So
Hmm.
A2G Wellness, it's a global consulting brand, and we do corporate wellness. Of course, that includes speaking and trainings and all that for Fortune 500 companies. So we do corporate wellness. I do wellness for youth. So it's the Wellness Warriors, how to be well. And so I'm in schools teaching young people about wellness and what that looks like and how to
Yeah.
create that for themselves. Specifically within our community, I use that program to combat gun violence. As well as unhealthy living. And that could be bullying, that could be being disadvantaged financially as well. So wellness warriors, we come in, to help that
Hmm.
in our community. And that's really a passion work for sure. And then we have individual work, which is our signature self programming. And so that signature self, I'm able to work one on one with people to help them to get to where they're going. So that's A2G Wellness. Welltech Studios is the latest of the tribe, and
Ooh.
yes, Welltech Studios is where I bring my wellness expertise to other wellness practitioners, and I
Mhm.
empower them with technology to take their message worldwide. So I help them to create their brands, their courses, but we do everything through automation and AI, which has been such a wonderful journey in
Mhm.
seeing the integration of wellness and technology and how these two things kind of need each other and they feed on one
Mhm.
another for the overall well-being of us as people is really, really beautiful. And then of course, you know about Passport University.
Yes, I do.
Yes, we work with HBCU students to take them on their first trip overseas and to put passports in their hands. And now with travel being so much more accessible, it's
Mhm.
really important that we learn how to also travel well
Yeah.
because that's not always the case. We don't always
Right.
travel with cultural competency. We don't always make our mamas proud while we out. So
No, we don't.
yeah, right. We want to give students the ability to learn, serve, and grow overseas. Oftentimes, we target the diaspora so they can see themselves in other countries speaking different languages, living different culturally, but understanding that we're still all one and the same. We're all the same people. And so, yeah, I don't know that I can say which one is kind of like my favorite.
Mhm.
I can say that Welltech Studios gives me that right now rush because it's
Yeah.
technology, it's innovative. So to see AI create wellness programming for people where it would take me days to do, I can partner with AI and do it in a couple of hours. So that means I can pump out more treatment faster. Beautiful. So the innovation part is kind of what drives me. A2G Wellness is passion. I'm so impassioned by that because
Mhm.
I really want everyone to be well. If you
Yeah.
heal women, you heal the world. If you heal men,
Yeah.
you heal the world. If you take care of kids, the world is great for futures to come, right? So I
Yeah.
really believe in wellness. It is a passion for me. So that's my passion work. That's my legacy work. And then with Passport University, as we were talking offline, I stay in these skies. I'm
You
gone.
do.
I gotta be gone. But I see firsthand where I was able to become who God has designed me to be. My purpose became illuminated while I was out of the country. And so being
Yeah.
able to give that to people earlier than I got it, I
Mhm.
started in my 20s, but for 18 and 19-year-olds to be, becoming themselves and coming into their own overseas is just really beautiful. so
Yeah.
so that's legacy work. So there's like passion work with A2G,
Right.
innovation work with Welltech Studios, and then legacy work with Passion or Passport University. So yeah, they're all equal, my babies.
Yeah. So, now you are the wellness pastor at your church. Is that in Birmingham as well?
Yes, the Hill
Okay.
Community Church. Shout out,
Mm.
heavy on the community. Yes, shout out to them. We are under the leadership of Pastor T. Ellis, who also is super amazing.
And she's a Delta, right? She's a
She
Delta,
is,
right?
she is one of the sorors. She is. But although we're hosting, the Zaytons this Sunday, actually. But yes, and shout out to you. I hope your Founders Day was amazing.
I
Ours
hope
was
yours
great.
was as well.
Thank you, thank you. But yeah, truly, she stays in the streets for social justice,
Mhm.
community organizing. She's an activist. Has been featured on all sorts of news stations and all the things. And so I love being at a place where community is truly the center of what we do, and
Yeah.
it's not an issue to say Black Lives Matter. It's not an
Mhm.
issue to point out where Jesus himself was so committed to social justice that he was willing to flip over tables, right?
Right.
When it wasn't happening the way it should have happened.
Right.
And so being in that space, I think is what really opened the door for me to be a wellness pastor
Mhm.
because of how she thinks the
Mhm.
having that vision to say, hey, let's bring in your skill
Mhm.
and let's use that skill for the community. And so what that looks like is, yes, we do pray, but we also do group meditation.
Okay.
People can come and get wellness services from me,
Mhm.
but also through pastoral counseling. It's one and the same. It really is a para ministry. It stands on its
Okay.
own, and it is how we serve the community. So people who may not be able to afford therapy, again, as I mentioned, we are in the inner city of Birmingham. Birmingham has the highest murder rate amongst youth
Wow.
juveniles. Yes. Our 50% of crime is committed by youth, and
Mm-mm.
that's saying something. And then of that crime, over 50% is self-inflicted. So we're talking about suicide. So that's also a mental health issue. So you have
Yeah.
gun violence, you have crime and mental health issue compounded, and it's also the poorest city.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
so there's a economic disparity as well. There's a lot of things happening. It's almost a cloud of heaviness there. And so as
Mhm.
a wellness pastor, my job is to go into the community and offer wellness,
Wow.
truly, from a faith-based perspective, for the sake of saving souls. And that is local missions. We do
Mhm.
global missions as well. Again, from the centerist view, or rather centering wellness. And so for us, instead of just not just, but in lieu of doing a food kitchen, right?
Mhm.
Doing a soup day. Instead, we're empowering community gardens and food corridors so that people can go eat for free by growing their own
Yeah.
food. We're teaching them how to do that. Like I said, with our kids, most of the time they're in fight or flight syndrome. That's a whole other show for a different day about how this affects our bodies of our babies, but it does. Their living affects their bodies, which affects their brains, which now affects how they learn. So we go in and we reverse that.
Wow.
Yes, I'm gonna pray for your child to get better grades, but also I'm gonna give them an assessment that they wouldn't
Mhm.
be able to get from their doctor. And then I'm gonna use that to then talk to the school counselor and say, hey, counselor to counselor, here's what I noticed, here's what I learned, here's how you can help this kid within the walls of the school. So
Yeah.
um wellness pastoring is a lot of advocacy, is a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
seemed like
teaching,
it.
but it's also a lot of access, and I really love what I do. And um, I also train other people who want to become wellness pastors because we need more of that.
Mhm.
The Bible specifically talks about wellness. It specifically talks about Christ Himself being the healing, the prescription, and the cure.
Mhm.
And so I use that to help train other wellness pastors to support their pastors, because a pastor can't do everything, right?
Right.
So after they lay hands and after they counsel you, you might need some, okay, how do I eat better so that I don't have to keep coming to the altar for my diabetic medicine, right? We can
Yeah,
reverse.
right.
Let's go see
Right.
the wellness pastor about that, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, we are in-house triage, and
Mhm.
more of us are needed, and I'm honored to train more of us because I'm only one person, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do in the kingdom. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that is what wellness pastoring looks like in Birmingham.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you, Avery. Like, I'm so proud of you on like this involvement. Like when we met, you were always so on it, but to see that, it really does take obedience to God. And like I can see, the passion that you have for this. And from the time that we met into now, it's like, wow, like, is this Avery? Like, even though this was always, I feel like this was always in you. You've always been a caterer and nurturer, to
Yeah,
to people.
thank
But
you.
this is a great sight to see, and I am like, I'm super excited about it. I don't know if I told you I'm starting to tour again. I think I told you I
Yes.
started again, and I want to publicly, I like to tell people, and I always tell people how you helped me. When I came to Raleigh, North Carolina, I had nowhere to stay, y'all. Like for real, nowhere to stay. I literally had nothing. And Avery didn't know nothing about me. She didn't know anything about me. But she let me stay in her house. And so the wellness of it. Like you did, you the wellness, and I just think about how from that's wellness. Like you allowed
Yes.
me to stay in your house. Like you drove me around, like you helped me promote,
Yeah.
and that will always be a highlight of mine because I
Mm.
didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Bridget,
Yes,
one
baby.
that, yeah, she actually connected us, and she was like, "I know a Zeta." I'm like, "A Zeta, okay, all right." And this Zeta took care of me, baby. Like she
Yes.
took care
Well,
of me
that's what
like
finer women do, but yes, yes, yes. Well, you know what? It was such an honor. You
Ah,
always do bring up the story, but I
mhm,
always have to say you made it easy. You were
mhm.
very honest. You were very flexible. I'm like, how can I serve you? Like, whatever you need, not just a thankful to
Yeah,
have a place to stay. Like,
yeah,
you weren't like, well, I need this and I need that. You were
mhm,
so easy. It was so
yeah.
easy for your obedience and your humility gave space for my obedience. For
Oh,
me to
thank you,
it
Avery.
but sometimes obedience to God is not easy because the people tough, right?
Right,
Like,
right,
can we
right.
just be real about it? Like, really, God, I gotta. But you hear how they be talking to me. What
Right.
really? But you made it so easy. So
Mhm,
I'm thankful that the Lord sent you
mhm,
for me to, be, like I said, be obedient to and be a blessing to. You made it so very easy.
mhm,
And you brought up a great point.
mm.
Again, developing that
Yeah,
was wellness. And
yeah,
wellness is every area of your life. There are 8 dimensions of
yeah.
and that includes community, that
Wow.
includes support, that includes vocation,
Mhm,
that includes finances. So you coming and saying, hey, this is my vision, this is what I need to do, I'm not quite sure how these pieces are going to go together. We
yeah.
pulled the piece from every
We
eight of
did,
those dimensions and it
we did.
flourished and God blew on it. And so
Yeah,
yeah, kudos to you because you're
and,
talking about me. I'm proud of you. Girl, I saw
you're
that in
welcome.
the video magazine, just your whole
Yes.
like the loop has made a loop, but not like
Mhm,
a 360, like a 180. Like
yeah,
it has evolved with you. And I love that. I love that you are taking this vision with you and you have kept it your own. You've kept
mhm.
it the brand, but it's grown and it's expanded. So I'm proud of you. You're proud of me, but I'm really truly proud of you because I remember when you were at my place with no place to
No, I was
go.
gonna say, Avery, do you remember it was 12, 15 people at, Raleigh, North Carolina, and I looked at you and you looked at me and said, "Let's do it." And I literally, and I tell people this all the time. I told God before I got on the flight, I was like, I don't want to fail. Like, I don't want to feel like a
Mm,
failure because if I feel like a failure, then I'm going to quit. Like, I'm going to say, no, I don't want to do it because I failed. Who wants to fail?
absolutely.
But that event was so powerful. The connections that were made and the people that were talking about it. And then I remember inboxing you was like, Avery, I don't even know this person, but they are asking me about X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, and it was such a great moment, and I was so honored to share it with you, share it with people like Kenza, who
Yes.
I'm still very much connected with, and
Oh, yay.
just really being able to be in that moment. So I'm excited about the next 5 cities. If you want to tag along at any time, you let me know whatever city
Definitely
you
gonna
want
pop
to
up.
do.
Definitely gonna pop up. It's a thing. It's happening, guys. You seeing this virtually, but it's gonna be in person. It's gonna be great. Okay.
I love you, Avery. What else can we do to support you, or what else do you have coming up that we can, be a part of?
Yes. Oh, well, thank you for asking.
Mhm.
So please follow me on all
Mhm.
socials. It's at Lady A Global.
Mhm.
LadyAGlobal. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's LinkedIn, that's Facebook, YouTube, all the things. Lady A Global across all social media. And you can support by visiting the website, which is my first and last name, averyatkinson.com. There are all sorts of goodies. We have merchandise as well as I've written several books. There are journals there. There are workbooks there for manifesting, for becoming your best self. We have tons of programming. Like literally, there is something for everyone. Whatever stage of becoming well you
Mhm.
may find yourself, there's something for you there. And then I have a shameless plug. I
Okay.
have my retreat roadmap for 2020.
Oh, I think I saw that on your website. Like, you going to 3 different places, right? Or no?
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
good. Yeah.
So we are going to be in Charleston, South Carolina. We're going to be
Wow.
just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So in Charleston, I'll just give you a preview real quick.
Okay.
It's the Revive Me retreat, and that is going to be in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's for 2 days. And that
Mhm.
is going to be the spiritual and emotional wellness component of the retreat series.
Okay.
Then we're going to be just outside of Atlanta for the wellness and tech retreat. That is going to be finances and intellectual wellness. And then our last one is going to be Heal the Healers Retreat in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And that's going to be the whole gamut. So you're going to get
Wow.
all 8 dimensions of wellness. We are empowering, we are equipping. All of them come with books and bundles and private chefs and somatic trainings and breath work and massages, all the things. You're going
Wow.
to get all the things.
And
So
when did that start? When does that start?
yeah, so our first one is going to be in March. So that's March
Okay.
8th and 9th in Charleston, South Carolina. Then March, I believe June, and then August for the
Okay.
longer one that's going to be US Virgin Islands. And so, of course, I would love to see all of you guys at all
Yeah.
three. But any one of them will give you what you need. And we call it a retreat map because again,
I
there are eight
love
dimensions
that.
of wellness. And so rather than inundating and just, making it heavy, you can, follow the flow, follow the map to
Yeah.
get to your points of wellness. So yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so you guys, please support Avery, like Lady A. Please support her. Go follow her. This is the next edition of All Things Loop, and I'm super excited about being a part. So yeah, until next time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Hey, everybody. It is I, Dr. Avery Atkinson, affectionately known as Dr. A, your favorite holistic wellness practitioner. And I am here to tell you check out the loop. Check out all things loop. You need to be looped in. The information will be somewhere around here on the screen. Make sure you're plugged in. Support Kenya, support this movement. It's beautiful. And I will see you guys on the other side. Stay looped in.